Hello and welcome to DeekshaLife family, where we share actionable tips and tools to maintain holistic health. We believe that health is not limited only to physical body. It is our mind, body, and soul, which has to be aligned to live a peaceful and happy life. Physical health is more than just eating right, and mental health is more than happy emotions, as well as spiritual health is more than yoga and crystals. We are electromagnetic light beings. We are connected with entire universe. Each one of us is universe in ecstatic movement. And that's where our G20 tagline was so apt, Vasudev Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. On this line, today, on this special occasion of Mental Health Awareness Day, we at DeekshaLife have launched our youth support program, which aims to support and engage youth from all over the world to ensure their mental well-being. This can only be achieved by involving all stakeholders in the society, which are nurturing our future generation. That means to bring parents, educators, and students for open communication and understanding of life from a deeper perspective, where we as parents and educators have to play a vital role in ensuring that our children excel academically while being happy and healthy, and where we also have to empower our children through mindfulness, time and stress management, trigger management, and seeing the life in a bigger perspective. Life is beyond academics. That is how we have to explain them. And we at DeekshaLife definitely strongly believe that our future generation is much more evolved in terms of technology and self-awareness. They are very sensitive and highly intuitive. And that is the reason they often challenge the existing limiting beliefs of parents, which leads to friction between parents and children. And this poses a challenge on their mental well-being, where some of them succumb to extreme pressure. Through our upcoming programs, we would like to address some of these issues. And to strengthen our vision, we have two very special guests. We have Professor Manoj Chaudhary and Mr. Alan Krishnan. I would like to introduce you to Professor Manoj Chaudhary, who is a highly accomplished visionary leader. He's a first and founding Vice Chancellor of Shakti Vishwavidyalaya in Garuda, currently on leave from his role as a Professor of Electrical Engineering at IIT Jodhpur. Professor Chaudhary brings a wealth of experience to his position at Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya. The Central University, sponsored by the Ministry of Railways, is dedicated to transportation sector and logistics, a critical focus in our rapidly evolving world. Before entering academia, Professor Chaudhary held key roles in technology industry, making significant contributions to companies such as Samsung Electronics and Texas Instruments. Notably, as senior director, he played a pivotal role in developing world's first 5G chip and groundbreaking 108 megapixel camera for mobile phones, which we all enjoy. His journey in technology leadership does not stop there. Professor Chaudhary has a remarkable track record of establishing and leading research groups. During his time with Samsung, he grew a team of 1,200 R&D engineers, focusing on SoC design and development for diverse market segments. Internationally recognized, Professor Manoj is credited with building robust research teams for wireless standards and technologies. He has won prestigious awards, including University Gold Medal, Young Achiever Award, and Patent of the Year Award, to name a few. In addition to his academic and industry achievements, Professor Chaudhary actively contributes to national missions. He is an invited member of the 6G Task Force by Department of Telecom, Government of India, and serves on the Management Council, Finance Committee Chairman of the Semiconductor Laboratory, SCL, under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. Furthermore, Professor Chaudhary's commitment extends to his role as an independent director on the board of Jodhpur Discom, Electricity and Engineering Department. His dedication to the growth of the technology sector and his extensive contributions to academia and industry make Professor Chaudhary a truly inspiring figure in the field.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning,
and thank you very much.
Yeah, and as we discussed earlier, Professor Chaudhary, our expectations from youth is increasing and leading to many unfortunate events. Would love to know your perspective and suggestions on how to mitigate these challenges, which are not limited to India and not specific to any layer of society.
First and foremost, I thank you for this important topic on such an important day. Today, if we look at India, India is a land of opportunities with its economy growing at the fastest rate in whole of the world. I believe India is a country for all the optimist people where tremendous opportunities are there. India today is talked about all around the world as the leader of the next generation because of our demographic dividend, that is the number of young people below the age of 35 years. If such being the case, with tremendous opportunities and a significantly large number of young people in India, we have to think whether young people are enabled to decide, choose, and live their own dreams, or whether dreams are imposed upon them. I feel extremely sad these days when we hear in the newspapers about very, very young students resorting to extreme steps leading to uh, suicides and depressions. It is despite that India has so many opportunities, it is despite that all these young kids are highly talented. Uh, Talented is all about the opportunity, right? So when there is tremendous opportunity available in the world, they cannot simply get upset with possibly one momentary failure in a test or exam, because that is not the end of the world. The life is very big. The purpose of the life has to be very huge. Life is not only about passing and getting a rank in one competitive exam or other, because life is all about a marathon, and first 100 meters do not decide how you will complete the marathon. So you have to really, really uh, focus on expectations. And particularly, I'm worried because it is not their own dreams. It are the expectations that are set by the society, that are set by the parents, that are set by the peer groups. And why should our young kids try to fulfill expectations that are set on them by all others except themselves? They should also have dreams of their own. They are all unique human beings in the world, just like everybody else. And therefore, they have to have dreams of their own. And we have to make an enabling environment where the whole society understands. I personally think that more than the kids themselves, it is the parents and the society which is currently responsible for creating such a scenario in such by making the world as if we have to grow, as if we have to progress at the cost of somebody else, while we all know we were born in the world on our own, not at the cost of somebody else. And therefore, how can we think about growing only at the cost of others and becoming a part of such a rat race? I'll stop here at this point.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And definitely, there are 8 billion people, 8 billion destinies, and 8 billion ways to actually achieve the success. And definition of success for an 8-year-old, 18-year-old, and an 80-year-old is totally different. And if we can identify it that way, I think it will be really helpful for all of us. With that, I would like to invite Alan as well in the conversation. So, Alan Krishnan is an independent advisor with a remarkable global footprint in organizational strategy and growth. With a knack for developing growth strategies, Alan has served on the board of directors for various institutions spanning continents from India, Rwanda to US and UK. His commitment, community engagement, and leadership roles are extensive, including positions on board of prestigious institutions like Boston University School of Education, American University, and University of North America. Alan's commitment to education is further evident through roles like president of PTSA at Thompson Jefferson High School for Science and Technology and treasurer at Odyssey for Mind in Fairfax County. Internationally, Allen's community service extends to institutions like Rotary and Lions, as well as advisory roles in India, such as being Philatelic Advisory Council member of Government of India. On professional front, Allen's journey spans leadership roles in diverse sectors, from managing operations in India's largest footwear manufacturing company to directing trading and manufacturing companies in Africa. His experience also includes turning around a NASDAQ listed company during the dot-com crash, demonstrating his resilience and strategic acumen. Alan's story is one of the dedication, leadership, and global commitment to communities' growth and service, a true force in both professional and personal spheres. Thank you so much, Alan, for joining us today. Would love to know how can we empower our ambitious and very aware younger generation?
Thank you, Diksha. This is an honor to be here. on a subject that is extremely important to society and which is extremely close to my heart. Because I am a very firm believer that we are all students, typically from 8 to 80. Earlier than 8, yes, we are students, but then we are more children and less in control of what we can do. We're driven more by family and environment. Though today it's getting younger. 3-year-olds tell you what should be done. So society is changing, and that's amazing. But the key that I have found very critical that works in everything that I'm engaged with is first, every one of us are impacted by those around us. From our childhood, parents, teachers, mentors, facilitators, all of these are people from whom we learn and we become better, more accomplished individuals. And that is what we need to encourage our children to keep their minds open, be ready to learn, be a sponge, absorb knowledge, good practices from everybody. I can say when I was 4 years old, I was in Chennai, then it was called Madras. I was with my grandparents. My grandfather was a very spiritual person. There's a lot I learned from him. For example, around this time is when we have Janmashtami. And, that's a very famous thing. I was in the south in Chennai, Madras, as I said. And there we put little feet of Lord Krishna coming into your house. And as a 4-year-old asked my grandmother, why are you doing this? What is it here for? And my grandfather in his pious voice said, oh, Lord Krishna will come to our house. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, okay. And I waited. And it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7:30. No, Lord Krishna. I said, where is he coming? Where is he coming? He'll come. Just be patient, is what my grandfather said. And then he did this puja. In the south, we do puja at home. We ring a bell, ting, 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 ting. And then we offer all the things that we have to God in gratitude. Thank you for everything. And in the midst of this, who came in? Lord Krishna came to my house. Can you believe this? It happened, as my grandfather said. And who was Lord Krishna? That was my cousin who was 2 years old. I'm 4 years old. My cousin is 2 years old. The little child ran from my neighbor's house. We were next door. We didn't have a compound wall. He came running in. And my grandfather said, see, here is Lord Krishna. I still get chills when I think of this. And this is what faith is, and this is how you learn. So, first thing I would tell, please support our children to have faith. They need to have faith in themselves, in those around them, so that they will learn and they will do better. There are also things that they need to take ownership and control of, but we'll get to that in a little while. So my thing is, please facilitate learning for everybody around you. I may be 68, 69 years old. I can still learn from people. So when you are around me, facilitate my learning. There is no age to learning. And it doesn't matter. I may be 7 years old. You can learn something from me. I have learned from my children when they were 7 and 8 year old. So that is what we need, open to learning. And once we inculcate that in our children, they will be in good shape.
Thank you so much, Alan. So I would like to open the conversation with a couple of questions which were in my mind, and they were very relevant questions for youth as well. So I have collected through our channel some of the questions which I wanted to address. So Professor Manoj, I wanted to ask you, you are a highly accomplished leader, and academically also from IITs to all your journey has been very accomplished. But there are children who really feel that how do I meet both? I mean, because academic pressures are too much, even in IITs, as we know, the pressure is too much. So how do I manage that? While I excel, I reduce my stress. So stress is good, we understand, but then it should not be beyond the threshold where somebody takes their life, where somebody thinks that life is not worthy of living. So what is your take on that, and message for the youth who are trying to strive?
We have all gone through the similar journeys in life. And if I reflect back, there have been many opportunities when I felt that there is the end and there is a failure that is the end, right? For example, but if we have to reflect back, or any person, leave me here at this moment, did Sachin Tendulkar not get out on zero many times in his life? Did Roger Federer did not lose any match in the life? Was that the end of it? When Tendulkar got hit in his first test match on his head, did he stop playing from there? So failure is just a part of the whole game. Failure, no failure, as the saying goes, no failure is final, success is never ending. So only person who has not failed is the only person who has not tried. So whenever any student tries to do something, tries to have have a goal, it is possible we might falter at some stage. But in the whole process of life journey, these are the steps that allows us to learn, allows us to do more, allows us to do better in the next time. I do not remember of any person I have met in the life who has not, who does not have a regret, that in the sense that he or she did not achieve every single thing that he or she wanted to do. Somebody thinks, okay, I wanted to become a doctor, I did not get into AIMS. Right? Somebody thinks, I wanted to study computer science in IIT, I did not get that branch. One can always have an aspiration, one can always find a regret all around you, but it is important to think that our journeys of each of 8 billion people on the planet Earth is unique, different, and chartered by ourselves in our own manner. Here again, I want to bring the point back to the same point that I talked last time. That is the role of parents in society. Many a times, we elderly people as parents, many of the unfulfilled ambitions or dreams that we might have in life, there is a tendency that we want to live that life through our children. We want our children to become what we could not become or what we think as a regret, and therefore try to make a dream for our children, which is actually our dream. It is not a dream, it is not an aspiration based on their own capability, based on their own assessment, based on their own intentions that they are dreaming. It is the external pressure and the expectations that we are creating for our children. And I think that this pressure cooker situation is not healthy for them. And that is where I personally am very happy that today we are talking on such an important issue with such a immense human talent available, a potential which is there to be tapped. How can we allow them to think that merely one internal test or one competitive exam here or there, or even the thought that one may not be able to clear that exam, how can that be an end of the world when the world offers such an endless possibilities?
Absolutely. But here I have a perspective that it is not that one failure leads to that. It is the constant nagging or constant pressure from society, peers, family, which actually builds up, and one event becomes the last trigger, last nail in the coffin. And I think that is leading me to the next question, like how do, as a parent as well, see, we also have certain amount of pressure on us, right? I mean, you and me, maybe we are aware of everything, we don't pressurize our kids, we allow them to grow the beautiful flowers that they are. But other parents are not that aware, they are not very confident that the child will take the right decision for themselves. They believe, I have spoken personally to many parents where I counsel them, they believe that their children are not capable of taking their decisions. How do we make these parents understand that it is it, because India is growing, as you rightly said, India is becoming the land of opportunities. It's not only engineers and doctors that we need now. Engineering colleges are flooded actually, so we don't need that. We need more creative people, we need more independent thinkers who can actually innovate, who can actually do things creatively out of the box. And to empower that, we have to allow our kids to flourish like a flower. We cannot flower assume that it is a rose or it is a lotus. Both need a different kind of environment. We have to allow that flower to flourish, and let's see what it comes out from that, right? So my question to you is, how do we talk to parents or the educators, because I'll come to educators part as well little later, but I wanted to understand your parents point of view from you.
So I think a lot more of it has to go with the realization and the part where people understand. So firstly, I hope maybe it is relatively easy for all of the parents to be made aware, because they have also undergone similar journeys in their life, to make them aware that life is not a predictable path. Life is not a one-stop solution that you get into an engineering through a competitive exam and the life is successful forever. Life is a struggle, is a journey, is an exam. every day in that sense. So it is not about one competitive, because they also themselves know. So these notions that if you get into engineering, if you get into this college, the life is set. Life does not get set like that. We are living in today's world where things are evolving, where technology is changing very, very rapidly. We are in the 21st century. We are already 23 years into the 21st century. But here, if I must tell, right? That almost every single thing that we are using today is a 21st century product, whether it is a Facebook, WhatsApp, Zoom, Google, or Tesla, or Uber, or Ola, Netflix, YouTube, whatever you try to do is almost a 21st century product. And two things I want to talk here. First is, in 21st century, the rate of technology development has intensified. Secondly, we are talking about the kids who are also 21st century products at this moment, right? So in this 21st century, when the rate of technology development, which is causing tremendous social impact, is so huge, the possibilities that they can themselves see in terms of the new things getting created, who are creating them? If you look at all of these companies, all of the leaders, all of them are youth. And that is where the tremendous possibilities that they have, that there is no end. One exam does not end anything. One test does not is not an end of the road itself. So that is where I want to talk in today's world, where tremendous opportunities, even for creating their own startups, their own companies, their own enterprises, we have evolved, and the kind of opportunities that exist is something that we have to make students aware. We have to make parents aware. We have to make uh, the coaching institutions and educational institutions aware that it is not merely the marks that we give to our students that is enough. Students have enough potential. Maybe we are only trying to see one side of it, only one test, only one exam, and we have to make sure that that exam or the result thereof does not leave a lasting impression on that child. So that is where I remember a very famous share, and I want to quote that कोई अपनी ही नजर से तो हमें देखेगा, कोई अपनी ही नजर से तो हमें देखेगा, एक कतरे को समंदर नजर आए कैसे. All of the human beings are like big ocean. They have endless possibilities. We only see them from one perspective. That is our issue. We have to make sure that endless possibilities are always available for the kids to tap for their future. And that is where I want to stop at this time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And as you rightly said, that even if you reach IITs, I mean, in India, that's the big dream every kid has. Even if you reach, you and me, both coming from IITs, we know that even when we reach there, life is not simple. Life is even more challenging. Actually, that is what I keep educating many parents, that it is not going to end. That the struggle is not ending there. So don't feel that just pushing into the child into IIT will solve the problem. Problems will be manifold there, because the expectation on the child increases, and that brings us to the education system. So I would like to ask you one more question related to education system, and how our government can play a role in actually enabling mental health in space. Like, it has to go from a childhood. It is not that a child, when he is 13-year-old or 15-year-old or a teenager, then we start inculcating those habits. We have to inculcate it very early, 6, 7, 8 years of a child, when that child is aware of how to take care of his mindfulness, or the time he's spending on screen. That is when it will help. So I strongly believe that these basics should be inculcated in the school. I would like to know how we can propose this to government, and how we can actually integrate this to entire nation, so that our generation itself is robust in themselves. As you said, we have to realize that we are the ocean, right? We don't know. I believe that I am a drop. My mother is seeing me like a drop, and I believe in that. But I'm not a drop. I am an ocean. A drop is what she's seeing, but that might not be my reality. So how do we do that from a
So,
bigger
so
nationwide perspective?
So firstly, I feel extremely happy that the progressive government of India, led by the visionary leader, Prime Minister Modi ji, has taken significant steps. If you look at the national education policy, right? If I'm not getting into details, but the key aspects of that is allowing multiple entry, multiple exit options, for example.
Yes.
Right. Kids can choose when they want to discontinue the education, when they want to resume. They can do some parts of the education at one institute, other at another institute. For example, in our school framework, how do we reduce the pillows in the bag and make the school bags lighter? There have been tremendous emphasis on vocational education, on skill development. Not education is not only about getting degrees. Education is about preparing people for their future. It
Yes.
is not merely to prepare them for the first job. We have
Absolutely.
to prepare people and kids for all of their career, and that is the role of the education has to be there. And therefore, I think government has already taken significant steps. We, uh, through the society and the awareness campaign that I am talking about, and that is where role of individuals and organizations like you is very, very crucial. That how do we reach out to the masses, to the places, for example, at the places where currently biggest concern is seen. Maybe I can advise you, you should consider visiting Kota or some such places and have uh, regular talks, not only with kids, but of their parents, of their guardians, of the educational and coaching institutes, that all they are trying to do is to groom, and their job is to groom the children. How can children who come to them, instead of being groomed, instead of being honed, can be put into some kind of a disappointment circle where the uh, result is so sad. So I think government has taken several steps. If today we are discussing about mental health day and well-being, I think the well-being as a culture is getting introduced, whether it is through yoga and the yoga days in all of the schools and education institutes. So the focus of the government has been very good. But I believe that we, the citizens of India, also have a big responsibility towards fulfilling the mandate that is there before us, and that is where the role of us, the role of you and the organizations like you who are spearheading such important causes becomes even more important in the context that we are talking today.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. And that takes me to Alan. I want to understand because Alan has a huge experience and exposure to all different continents and education system everywhere. So I wanted to understand, Alan, from you, like the kind of digital impact now 21st century children have, the social media and all that. I mean, it brings a lot of negative impact as well on children. So how do you think that a child can make sure that he is securing his mental health while parents may be aware of what he's watching or he's looking into, or he may not be aware of? So how do we move in this digital world in a more peaceful way?
Thank you, Diksha. This is a perfect segue into something most important, which I wanted to focus on, which is every one of us, whether I'm 8 or 80, I have to take ownership for myself, as I mentioned earlier. And in this context, I want to go back to something that Professor Manoj mentioned, which is critical in every child's life, and parents need to encourage this. What Professor Manoj said is, hey, if you have not failed, you're not a success. You just have not tried anything. Essentially, that's what he said. And this is what parents need to educate children. Do not be scared of failure. It's okay to try and fail than not try at all. And one of the best examples I have for this in this context, which I remembered just now, is we all know Anupam Kher, a very successful Bollywood uh, artist, highly accomplished. He runs an amazing non-for-profit for educating girls and improving their life positions. And he also wrote a book, a biographical book, Things That I Learned Without Trying, I think is the name. It's a phenomenal book. And there he talks about his childhood when they were relatively a simple family. His father was a second division clerk and they had two sons. And once in a year, they would celebrate his birthday. Who cares? Another day, they'll celebrate his brother's birthday. And those are the two celebrations in a year in the life of that family. And they would go to a nice fancy restaurant. One day, the father comes to the school, takes the boy, Anupam Kher, and takes him to this fancy restaurant. And the boy is like, Kya ho kya? Why am I getting the special treatment, special everything? Finally, the curiosity says, Papa, kya ho gaya? Why have you taken me here? What have I done? What have I achieved? I don't know. Please tell me. I'm very curious. And father says, Beta, I brought you here not to congratulate you or to celebrate your success. I came here to teach you a very important lesson in life. If you do not pass an exam, that's all it is. You did not pass an exam. You are not a failure. You just did not pass that exam. No, Papa, what happened? He said, Well, I went to the university office. My uncle Hari is there, my friend, he's there. So I asked him, Mera beta ka kya ho gaya? So he checked the results. Oops, you have not passed your +1, 11th standard, 11th grade.
Oh.
So don't worry, beta, it's okay. You just have to work hard. Abhi chutti aa jata hai, study well, and you will do fine. Don't worry. And here we have Anupam Kher, one of the most accomplished people who failed in his 11th grade, and
Yes.
whose fathers, instead of beating him in the head and twisting his ears and saying, Kya ho gaya? Pagal hai, nahi hoda, you did this, nothing. He encouraged the child and said, Don't worry, it's just a stepping stone. This is an important lesson. It runs chills in my spine when I think of it. This is something that, as a society, we should always make available to our children so that they can be more independent, they can be more accomplished, and not live in fear. The most important thing is to give them the courage that there's nothing they cannot do. And if they can't do it, it's okay, just try. So this would be critical. The social media is a terrible thing. Forget children. I have friends who are late 50s, multi-millionaires, croropatis, who's depressed because another of our friends goes on a vacation every 4 months, puts some pictures, and by the time they put it, 200 people say, like. Oh my God, everybody loves him. Nobody loves me. This is the crorepati, multi-crorepati who's having this depression in this. And this is common with social media and pressures. So the key is to tell our children the only thing which matters is what you think of yourself.
Absolutely.
Don't worry
One more
about
thing, if I can add here,
Yes,
is
please.
sir.
is about the recent development, a development that every Indian is proud of, the Chandrayaan 3. Right?
Yes.
We all know that Chandrayaan 3 is a monumental achievement for India and a great success story. But we should also remember that Chandrayaan 3 happened because we also tried Chandrayaan 2.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
even if we were not absolutely successful with Chandrayaan 2, we did not abandon our journey. We did not abandon the next steps that we were to do. And I am still reminded of our Honorable Prime Minister, how he patted other than ISRO chief. Despite us not achieving 100% result at Chandrayaan 2, this is what we need to do as society, as our parents, to our kids, that just like Chandrayaan 2 was a momentary gap in our ultimate destination of success, which happened with Chandrayaan 3. We have to also utilize similar success stories that everybody can easily relate to, that we can, that failures are just temporary in nature. These are just the steps that we will achieve uh, the ultimate success in future.
My God, this is one of the most beautiful and most relatable example. I think Anupam Kher definitely is a relatable example, but this I think kids will definitely relate to, because yes, everybody has seen the failure of Chandrayaan 2, and the way the father, the prime minister who patted the back of the student saying that it's okay, don't worry, it's okay, we will do it again. And within no time, we have actually achieved really nearly impossible in no time, and that was amazing actually. And that reminded me of my son as well. He came back to home from school after Chandrayaan 3 was launched. Then there was some we reached Sun as well with through Aditya, our achievement through that. And there was one more thing, I don't remember exactly the third achievement. And he came to home and he's telling, Mama, what is this happening? We are doing so many things. I mean, India is big. So I was very proud to see that child is taking pride in India. This is what our prime minister has done. This is all collectively we all have done to India. That our children, as a 10-year, 12-year-old, he's proud of India, saying that everywhere we are listening only about India. We are doing so many things. So I was like, wow, I felt very good. And this example will definitely stay with me, and I'm going to use it, both the examples, for people who say that failure is final. And these are real life examples. Thank you so much for adding this here, Professor Manoj. So
I'd like to add a word on to this one,
yes,
Professor
please.
Manoj. This is such an important lesson because the one thing he didn't mention, it's a very positive thing, but something we have to keep in mind,
Okay.
is when we fail to achieve what our goals were. New York Times put a very sarcastic cartoon to India, essentially saying, "I just shut up and just look at your pull cards and things. Don't talk about all this nonsense. Stay away from this. This is for the sophisticated."
Hmm.
And now they said, okay, what happened? India has achieved what the sophisticated rest of the world did not. We are the first to land on this part.
So this is a clear indication of this is how the society is. So it's just a replica of society, right? It's a slice of society where one is trying to achieve something, he fails, the parents support, but the society around criticizes, Ki, IIT, what are you talking? Your child is dumb, he cannot achieve IIT. Similar ways. So my question to you, Alan, is now I want to understand, how do kids communicate when they are having a when they're very sensitive? So I am a very sensitive child, I don't know how to communicate to my parents. You might be bold enough to tell your parents that, okay, I can't do this, but my parents are very strict and I cannot say that, I cannot raise my voice or tell them even that it is hurting me, that the behavior what you're doing to me. What in your thoughts that these children should do? How should they communicate?
For children, it is not intuitive, it's not automatic, because culturally we are brought up respect your elders, respect your teachers, respect your parents, respect everyone. So if my father says do this, I cannot question it. That is against societal norms. That's not going to go away, and it should not go away. It's a good thing. But the key is everybody older than I am is not necessarily doing the best and the right all the time. It might have been wonderful at some time, it may not be wonderful today. It might have been wonderful for somebody else, it's not wonderful for me. And for this, only the parents and the school system should teach children to be independent thinking without being arrogant and disrespectful. The problem is I'm half-baked. I know some little thing. For example, I know how to play with a smartphone and put it much smarter than my parents. So I think I'm a genius. I'm not. I'm just good at the smartphone, which my parents know nothing about. This is the humility that children need to learn, that when you're good in one thing, doesn't mean you're good in everything. So
Yeah.
be happy, be grateful for what you're good at, and be open to learn other things. And this, the parents themselves should know it, because very often the parents don't know that themselves. The parents themselves are arrogant because of something small, and that transfers to children. So this is where societal rethinking is required, that you have to think. And this helps me segue into another part which to me is very important, which is we have to teach our children, and you can't give lectures to children. They watch you and emulate what you do. So you have to live beyond yourself. You have to live for your community. You have to serve people in your community who need assistance. And for this, I want to bring in something here which is very important. It's called the four-way test. This is the four-way test that pretty much drives Rotary International. Rotary is one of the big world community organizations, and they have a simple thing, the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? If every one of us apply these four questions to everything we think or say or do, the world will be a hugely better place. So I'm actually initiating a move in the United States, in the Commonwealth of Virginia state where I live, where we are going to take the four-way test and give it to every elected official who'll put it up in their office and look at it once in a while and say, "Okay, yeah, I have to do something. Is it good for my state? Is it good for my people? Is it good for my country?" Then let's move forward. Let's not only think of our own narrow mindset, political re-election, and so on. So that is something which we should be able to perpetuate and do again and again. So this is something I would strongly encourage as a guiding principle for people's lives.
Thank you so much, Alan. I think we have pretty much covered all aspects of current scenarios. We have to come up with tools and actually implementable solutions where we can actually help parents, as we are understood, to decondition parents and decondition educators and empower our younger generations. So anything else would you like to add, Professor Chaudhary, to this, to summarize the session?
Um, I think you mentioned it very well, that probably many of us, probably all of us, know the issue and the challenges, but we also need to take steps at the right time, and the time is now, as our Prime Minister says, "Yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai." So we have to do some things now. We cannot wait. However large the challenge is, I am reminded of a famous quotation by Rabindranath Tagore, that you cannot cross the sea by merely standing and staring at water. We have to take the steps, and we have to take the steps now. Now is the time that we must go reach out to every stakeholders, parents, society, educational institutes, our kids, because this opportunity that we have before us, before India, in terms of a sizable young population, this opportunity has come after centuries. We are at the cusp of making a history, of being the world guru, of the world leader, and we cannot squander this opportunity just like that.
Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining me today, taking out time early in the morning and actually investing so much energy and time to the mission. Thank you, Alan, for joining me. He's in the hospital, sitting with his friend there and taking care of him. So thank you so much, both of you. And I hope that this mission continues and creates a nationwide and later global mission through which we can connect all parents, all educators, and all children as early as possible. Do not wait for the last moment, the last trigger, and we create a better world for India and for the world as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diksha.
Thank you. Thank you
I'm
so much.
grateful for this opportunity to be part of this movement that we hope to grow. And in parting, I want to share a prayer I have used all my life. It was intuitive for me, but subsequently, when I came to the West, I actually saw it stated. So I want to share that. It's called the Serenity Prayer. And if this prayer is learned by everybody who listens to this program, writes it down, reads it every day, I promise you, they will never suffer depression. They will never be unhappy. I guarantee you that. I'm willing to bet money on it. The prayer is very simple. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. God, give me the courage to change the things I can. And most important, God, give me the wisdom to know the difference. So, as adults, children, particularly as adults, I don't like my boss. My boss is not going to change. Let me just accept it. Let me not fight it. There's no point fighting it. Suddenly, my problems go away. I'm not stressed. I'm finding it fun to come to work, and I do my job, I go back. If it becomes intolerable, then I can change, quit the job, go to a different job. That's all. And that's what you need to know. As long as I'm in this job, I better shut up and behave. And when it becomes intolerable, just go away, different environment. And that way there will be no stress. So thank you. And I look forward to continuing the series.
Thank you so much. Thank you.